Are you guys going as crazy as I'm going with this lunar eclipse coming up? Because the energies are intense. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Nicole Frolic from Flexible Me, and today I want to talk to you guys about this partial lunar eclipse that we're going to be experiencing on the 16th. The energies are very palpable. In fact, they've been palpable for a little while, I think, and I'm pretty sure some of you guys are feeling it too because you've been writing to me and it's all the same stuff. So I want to kind of do this video and let you know what's going on with this whole lunar eclipse. And if you're feeling like you're going to crazy town, you took a hard left to crazy town, there's a reason for it. And you're not alone. Let me just tell you, because this girl over here, it feels like I am on the most incredible emotional roller coaster where some days I feel like I've got it all together and other days I feel like I'm a heaping mess on the floor in tears. So there is so much coming to the surface right now with this lunar eclipse. So let's talk about it. Now, we have this partial lunar eclipse in Capricorn, but it is also still Cancer season. And with this lunar eclipse, in the same placement, we have Pluto and we have the South Node. So I'm going to talk about all of those influences and why it's so intense right now. But there is a silver lining to the silver moon, because the moon is actually representative of silver, the crystal. So let's talk about Pluto. Okay, because Pluto is what's causing many of us to have these traumas coming to the surface. If you guys are feeling kind of like really up and down in your emotions, and if it's getting really, really intense, then chances are is that you've got some old traumas from the past, whether they're this lifetime, repeated lifetimes, whatever it is, it's coming to the surface because it's time to get released. As we think about the moon, this lunar eclipse, we're going into a full moon. And so full moons are all about letting go. From the new moon up into the full moon, we're always building energy, we're expanding, we're building, and now the full moon is all about, from this point on, it's all about releasing, which is really what's going to be happening through this lunar eclipse, or what this lunar eclipse is really activating for many of us right now. So you have Pluto that's drawing up all these big traumas to the surface, and for some people, if you don't even know what those are, you literally will think you're going crazy because you have no idea why you're so emotional. It doesn't make sense to your immediate surroundings and what's going on in your life right now. Possibly it might, but for most of us, I don't think it does. And so that's why it can get really confusing. So you have Pluto here. You also have the South Node. Now, the South Node is bringing in this influence of release. The South Node, when it's in this placement with the moon, it's enhancing the releasing effect. In ancient scriptures, the South Node was also known as the dragon's tail, as the North Node is known as the head of the dragon. So at the end, it's the tail end. So it's almost like we're going through the tail end here of something. But this lunar eclipse is intense. It's really intense. And it's almost that whole, it's darkest before dawn. That's the feeling that I'm going through. And I'm getting a sense that many of you are going through just from what you're writing me. And it's kind of feeling kind of like a sporadic, like dark night of the soul in a way. Even if you don't feel like you're in a dark night of the soul journey right now, it almost feels like that kind of energy. And so we have a lot of release coming up. And what we're trying to release is with this Capricorn effect. Capricorn is all about, you know, structure and responsibilities and duties and, you know, getting things done, and can often talk about like on the world stage as well. And we're seeing a lot of stuff coming out on the world stage right now. So I'm not surprised that all that's coming up right now. But just to kind of keep it here in an energetic state, what's happening with this lunar eclipse is these old structures or old ways of doing things or belief systems that you have are getting broken down. You can't, if you've watched my July video, it was all about the cycles, and the solar eclipse was also about cycles, okay? And how we're coming to the very end of a very big cycle for many of us. And in many ways, It's got similar feelings, and in other ways, it's very personal to each and every one of us. And so you have this kind of needing to break down because it can't go with you anymore. It's time to let go and release, surrender. All of these energies really came up through the July reading and in my solar eclipse video. So what is it that you're going through that you feel like you need this really deep release? I know for myself, I am absolutely going through something major where it is so hard for me to release, to let go. I'm having to move right into the pain. I'm having to move into it, to embrace it, to just kind of love it. And it's not easy. It's not easy. And it can be scary because, like I said, this is an emotional roller coaster. You feel like if you go really deep, you might get trapped down there. And that's kind of sometimes my worry, is that how deep do I want to go with this right now? Because do I want to go so deep that I may not get back out? Because you know that can happen. And so we're being faced with these things, and they have to do with our fears, and they have to do like a lot of fears and limiting beliefs. This is what it's surrounding. So what's going on within you that is really limiting, or a belief that isn't serving you as you expand your horizons, you expand your potential, as you really kind of put yourself out there and really want to grow, move through this ascension process, really reach your highest heights. Now, because we're also in Cancer season is making it very personal for us. So because Cancer deals with our relationships and our home and things like that, this lunar eclipse and all this release is feeling super, super personal. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of triggering going on over the next few days and afterwards, after the lunar eclipse happens. If you've noticed that you're getting angry, like straight up like you want to throw a punch angry, or you want to flip someone the bird angry, yeah, that's coming up right now. And to be quite honest, I'm going to tell you, embrace it and go for it. I'm not saying cause any violence or anything like that, but if you need to scream, if you need to shout, you may want to let it out, because this is something that has to come out. Now, I will say that for those of you who are really ready to release this, and I mean, when I say ready, I mean you've been going through this and you've been prepping this, and you're just like, okay, I'm done. Like, I want to let this go. This lunar eclipse is going to feel that much more intense for you because the release is imminent. For those of you who are still kind of in the more beginning phases, you're going to find this lunar eclipse not feeling as intense. But you're still going to feel it. You're still going to feel it. And so there's really this this darkest before dawn feeling of the big time release. But the release is going to open you up so much to allow so many new things in. And it's almost going to be like a liberation for you. It's going to set you free. It's going to oh gosh, if you guys watched my Earth Signs video, I'm pretty sure it was the phoenix rising from the ashes. That kind of feeling is going to come in, like you're just liberated, you're reborn. There is a rebirthing feeling to this. And so just forewarning for this lunar eclipse, it's going to be intense. And if you find yourself getting into arguments, getting angry with people, just know that you're not alone, and there are many astrological influences tuning into you right now, or you're tuned into it, and you may just want to be aware of that. You may want to be aware of that, so that, I mean, you don't want to be projecting your stuff onto people, but if you have a right to be angry and it needs to be released, I'm also having to go through an anger release, and I'm like, I'm just going to have to embrace it, and I'm just going to have to really get angry. It doesn't mean I have to get angry at anyone. I just have to kind of go through the emotions and let them come up. So that might be happening for some of you guys. So I just wanted to put this video out there because this lunar eclipse is going to be super intense. I told you guys in my solar eclipse one that the lunar one was going to be more intense, and it is. However, there is a beautiful silver lining at the end of this, but getting there, oh, it's going to be a little painful. It's going to be a little scary. Actually, it's going to be a lot scary for some of us. because it just depends on what you're going through and what you're releasing, especially if your traumas are very deep and very painful. So keep people who love you around you, supportive around you, and don't be afraid to open up and talk about the stuff that you need to. Yeah, lunar eclipse is a doozy. All right, guys, that's it for now. If you guys need any more information about me, please head over to my website, inflexibleme.com. I have a newsletter there you can sign up to. I also have my podcast that comes out every Thursday on iTunes, Enlighten Up. It's a great spiritual conversation that I have with my 2 closest friends and guests every week. And if there's anything else you need from me, if you need any coaching, if you need any guidance, if you need a reading, all that information is in the description below. Guys, I love you so much. Have a wonderful weekend, and good luck riding into that partial lunar eclipse next week.